Yep. What's up, my compadres and padras? You know what it is? It is Andrews the podcast, and this is our Tuesday, regularly scheduled Tuesday program. First of all, shout out to yourself for tuning in, coming to see what we're talking about today. I'm waiting for the mayor. I know he went out to the Georgetown County Council meeting tonight. This thing here is blocking my sight of the computer. I'm trying a different little setup here. And and he just texted me earlier and said that he was on the way. Now the reason why I'm late, it's not his fault that I'm late. It's just I got some a late order for some food. A burger got in late, and I was hungry and I wanted to eat it. So I ate the burger and the cold fries. Now I got my cup of coffee, and here we are. Um, Tonight's show is going to be, usually what we talk about, but a little bit more in depth tonight, and into some things that happened tonight at Georgetown County Council, some things that were said. Um, we're going to go over those passionate speeches given by one Everett Carolina and one Raymond Newton, January 11th, uh, in regards to the 1 cent penny sales tax and the folks of Andrews, South Carolina, not being represented, not having a representative on the council. We're going to we're going to go over that and kind of talk about that, um, and some other things. Georgetown County was talking about their budget tonight, and they were talking about how great their budget was and how, you know, which further proves that they're sitting holding the money required to finish the town hall in the town of Andrews, South Carolina, which, as we move forward, we'll be talking about this new 1 cent penny sales tax that they plan to impose on you. They plan to put on the ballot in November. So I ask that you pay attention and see if you're representative, see if you're represented when these projects come out. Again, as soon as you get in here, please hit the like button, hit the share button, so that we can bring more people to this conversation and really break down how local politics work. Um, a lot of people, again, I keep stressing this because it's important. I guess that's why I think it's important. This national election is heating up. I mean, if you're like me, you're paying attention to what's going on down with the DA down in Fulton County, Georgia, Miss Fonnie Willis, and she brought the RICO case against Trump and a number of other individuals regarding a cheating scandal in the 2020 election. 2020, yeah. So, that's one of the things that's heating up on the political circuit, and everybody's telling Nikki Haley to get out of the race. This is a one man show. The Republican Party's man is Donald Trump, and don't you forget it. And so they're encouraging her, before she comes to South Carolina, and it's a political bloodbath, which it will be. Um, it will be, if she decides to you know, move move along with this thing in the primary. Now, again, she has consultants and she have people around her that's going to tell her you can do it, because there's consulting fees that come along with it. I see she's been dumping a bunch of money in radio and targeted ads, but it's all over but the singing. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, that's just you know me keeping that other eye on the on the uh, on the national politics, and I've come to the determination that the best thing for me to do is to create a page to deal with that. But the issues in Georgetown County are so dire, and that's my characterization of it, that this is important. This is more important than what's going on a national level. Um, Shout out to Palmetto Hope Network came out. We did an interview on Saturday. Guys, go back and listen to that. A lot of information in there. Mr. Butch Kennedy, who's the founder of that organization, and a lot of the good things that he's doing. Involving the bringing awareness to domestic violence, um, grooming young men in the way that we want them to be, the way that we want them to go, with this program called Boys to Men. Great program. Look forward to working with him moving forward. And we all know the YMCA is now located in Andrews, South Carolina. I guess this has been that's something people have been talking about for a long time. Just kind of saying, if we can get us the Y in it, well, we got it. So let's get behind it and do what we need to do. Girl Scout Troop 2913, uh, out of Andrews, South Carolina, is they got them cookies on deck. So if you need cookies, please just inbox me. I can get you hooked up. I got a plug. PSA, public service announcement. Let's put this up here. All right. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Georgetown Alumni Chapter presents Social Action Luncheon, and this is free to the public. My vote matters. No vote, no voice. Y'all know that phrase. February 24th at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is going to be at the Glisson Center, Bethel AME Church, 417 Broad Street, Georgetown, South Carolina. Right now, well, if you are sitting with somebody, you can take your phone and scan that QR code, uh, and register. All right, meet your local county and state officials. All right, so spread the word. Okay, this is going to take place again February 24th at 11 from 11 to 1, the Glisson Center, and that's at Bethel AME Church, 417 Broad Street, Georgetown, South Carolina, 29440. Again, register by February 19th. And I gotta click on that so I can see what the registration is about. Um, this is a free luncheon, I guess, just to get a head count so they'll know, you know, what it is. Just don't, I mean, make your reservation. Okay, this is an important luncheon, social action put on by the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So let's look out for that February 24th. I know early voting for the Democrats have started or is going to start. When does that start? Let me look that up real fast. All right, and so the early voting, what is today's date? Started yesterday. Okay, and the early voting period starts Monday, January 22nd, and ends Friday, February 2nd. Uh, it's closed on Sunday, January 28th. So early voting centers are open 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. During the early voting period. Voters will be asked to present a photo ID when checking in to vote. Visit scvotes.gov or contact your county election office to find a list of early voting locations. And if somebody could provide me that, what are the early voting locations in Georgetown County? I would definitely share that out. Be some good to know information. So right now we are currently in the early voting period. It started on Monday, January 22nd, and it's going to continue until Friday, February 2nd. Um, and that's early voting in the Democratic primary, the Democratic presidential primary, I should say. And I think that's going to be old Joe. Joe's going to be running again, right? From what I've heard so far. So I'm waiting on Mir to get set up, and then we'll be going in at it, going over some of what they talked about in the night at the Georgetown County Council. They were talking about some money that they got, some grants that they got for water and sewer. For wastewater treatment or something like that. But I'll play the video and we'll get into that a little bit later. They gave out a bunch of awards, volunteers of the year. There was no more mention of the 1 cent penny sales tax, but there was some other stuff that they talked about that was, in my opinion, very revealing when it comes to the Georgetown County Administrator, Miss Angela Christian. What's up, Miss Veronica? How are you? Welcome in the building. Again, vote early. The early voting period for the Democratic primary has started in South Carolina. Monday, January 2nd, 22nd. It's when it begins, and it ends Friday, February 2nd. Closed Sunday, January 28th. Early voting centers are open at 8:30 a.m. through 6 p.m. during the early voting period. Voters will be asked to present photo ID when checking in to vote. Visit scvotes.gov or contact your county election office to find a list of early voting locations. Doo-doo. There he is. How are you, sir?
Not too bad yourself.
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just talking about the early voting in South Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Apologize for the tardy, but I just getting back and from the county council meeting tonight and
No worries.
and wrapping up some things for a report due tomorrow. A couple of reports due tomorrow, so it's been a little bit busy, but I'm here and I appreciate you sticking around.
It's all good. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, man.
You went out and seen Rosemary basketball play last night.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, this is the second time I watched these these young men and women play. And we're talking 8th graders, and they're very impressive. So I want to, first of all, shout out to the coaches for the young ladies team, Mrs. Michelle Scott, who's been doing that for a while. I think for a year, not 2 years. All right, Miss Veronica. I had a good conversation with her tonight as well while I was transitioning from the work here. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Mm-hmm. But so her and the young man who's coaching the boys team. Oh boy, he's gonna be mad at me. His name escapes me right now. It'll come back to him, but I'll tell you what, well coached, well mannered kids out there playing hard, and it was an exciting game down in at Waccamaw. So of course, I really wanted to beat them. Man, hold on. What is this young man's name?
Oh man, hold on a second. Let me get my camera hooked back up.
Okay. See, as soon as I talked about Waccamaw, cameras went down. Now we got some good friends over there.
Oh man, trying a new setup and my battery pack accidentally pushed it off the table just now. But we're back. So did they win?
No, it went down to the wire.
Okay.
Now guys made some mistakes there at the end. Probably rushing, trying to get it done, everybody. But it was excitement. And I give it to the folks over at Waccamaw Elementary. I mean, I'll have to send you. I got a few 1-minute clips and they have the whole music thing. They got some great speakers in there. The little young cheerleaders, they were doing their thing. We didn't have a cheerleader squad, but it was live like we were at like you would expect a high school or college game in terms of just the enthusiasm. Parents were out on both ends. And all things were done very, respectfully. We didn't have any issues. I probably was the loudest one in there. I was really rooting the kids on, man, because they played extremely well. Now the good thing is we have a bright future, man, with this young squad. I mean, a real bright future. These guys were playing well together, rebounding, blocking shots, and actually passing the ball. Not this whole thing we're seeing now too many times with the young kids. They dribble the ball to the person they want to pass to. That doesn't make sense. You pass and it's faster than the dribbling to this, and then so the mechanics of the game. I didn't see that last night. So coach, I got to get his name right.
All right, Veronica, come on, help us out.
Fine young man too, doing great work. It'll come to me. But anyway, shout out.
I want to clear something up real fast because I made a comment, and I wasn't coming at the team. So if they took it that way, and maybe they need to read it again. I think
that's what happened. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think they need to read it again. Because at the end of the day, I'm concerned about their development, just like you were saying. We got to bridge that gap. So when they get to Andrews High, there's no, we don't need a regression. You know what I mean? We need to keep that progress moving forward.
Mr. Anthony Holmes.
Anthony Holmes. Okay,
that's the young man. That's right, Anthony Holmes. Yeah, but you're right. So yeah, I read. I read it and I see the reaction, and it was taken out of context because you and I spoke, but I can understand from the young ladies who wasn't.
I get it. I mean, what I mean, but I just want to say that, hey, ladies, I ain't attacking you. I'm with you. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's it's a legitimate. It's just a question. You know what I mean? It's like
that new lady. Who's that new lady there, Miss Jerry Davis?
Yeah, that's Miss Davis right there.
Miss Davis.
Yeah, so ladies, I just want to apologize for, now the question still stands, because I'm still looking at that whole situation again. Just ties in right with what you were saying. You know what I mean? If we got that good development there, and at the 8th grade, that's always been the conversation in Andrews. When you look out at some of these um, some of these programs that has put together some success for a long period of time, some of these high school programs, and you can track it back to a good youth program, and a good middle school rec program, that kind of joins all of them together.
Right. And I will tell you too, I think, and I haven't been as involved with the rec program. I see a lot of parents and some young kids involved in the football part of it, and you can see that, I think, in football players. But we start talking about basketball and perhaps softball. A lot of our kids, and again, I see them in the softball too, because they play the AA ball. Oh, I guess the AA ball, travel ball. And we don't have a good AA program that I know of. I know Mrs. Nikita Cobbs is working with some kids. I think she's got about 15 young ladies that she's working with. And that's important. We played from probably the time we could, catch and throw football. We were out there on the field playing ball. And then the coaches in the rec league and JV and high school. I remember Coach Buddy Moore, when I started playing, I played 1 year in midgets, and I can't remember who the coach was then, but then the next year was under Coach Buddy Moore, who was an excellent coach. But then the JV, the varsity, and all those guys, and the rec department, all those coaches talked, and they had the same program. So that wedge, that famous wedge play that we have, that we were running that down at the midgets league.
Yeah.
So when we got up to high school, we were perfection. We had that thing on the perfection, and very few teams could stop. They may stop it once, but they couldn't stop the wedge. The 22-5, the 48-go-5 reverse. That was we ran that same play down in JV, and we ran it up and so all those things, they worked together. And I don't know whether the scouting was that was good or not, but they never stop those plays. We don't have that continuity across the different sports right now, and I think that's part of the because the coaches are out there and they're working hard. But I think when we teach kids a system, then they are perfected once they get to the high school league. But they were out there, man. They were playing good ball last night, and I had an opportunity to stop by early. I was invited out to speak with the JV team about not the JV. I'm sorry, Rosemary team, girls team. And again, thanks to the coach Michelle Scott for inviting me. I had a great talk with them. The kids are enthusiastic about what they do, and I told them I wasn't prepared to come into the game, but they wanted me to come to the game, so I had to change my schedule. And I'm glad I did, because it was excitement from the start, man. I was they knew I wasn't happy. Happy with that loss, man. I wanted that one.
That's what's up, man.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. So ladies, again,
you gonna throw yourself at the mercy of the ladies this time?
Yeah, what I mean. I can't kids, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want them thinking that I'm going against them, because I'm not. It's all, I'm concerned about their development and what's going on, and that's just that's a conversation to be had.
Yeah, I had a conversation with some of the folks on the inside, and so the coach made the decision for the best interest of the young ladies to step aside.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that. But that was an adult decision that the head coach made. But she remains with the team because she's a valuable asset. And as you stated or alluded to, life is more than just a game. So when you have someone that cares about their development, and and showing them different things and teaching them to be young ladies, and that, in my opinion, is much more than winning a basketball game. So I'm glad she stayed on, and the teams are working together now. Mr. Coach Tyrone now is the head of the squad, and he got assistants across the board. And so it's just a matter of, and again, give it your best And if you don't win the game, at least win the game of life and learn some things and take that, and build on that. That's what it's all about. So again, shout out to Coach Donna Collins for her, her hard work. And, because she took those young ladies to the USC game. And so getting them exposed and seeing things beyond what their experience here in town, I think is carries them a lot further than if they hadn't had that experience.
Yeah, and that was part of my why I started questioning. I was like, whoa, they just went to this team building thing. What happened? So, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'll revisit it at some point. But
yeah,
no doubt. All right, so great conversation Saturday with Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Butch Kennedy with Palmetto Hope Network. My Uncle Mark just called me, hey man, that was a good conversation.
He's a part of the approving authority.
Oh yeah, listen, he says it to where he letting me know you're doing good, because if I'm giving you credit,
he don't give out credit very easily.
Nah, he had to, you know what I mean?
Then he prefaced it by saying that.
There you go.
His word, his opinion matters.
No doubt, it does. That's my dude right there, man.
Yeah, man.
So, man, this politic thing is. I've been watching. Was watching the county council meeting tonight. And there was some things that I got it queued up, and we can kind of go through it. There's some. Well, they haven't labeled it out. When I say labeled it out, what they'll do is they'll put it in the sections. But I got it into the section where they were talking about. Well, let's start here.
Well, let me ask. Let me, if you don't mind, just another quick shout out to Butch, Mr. Kennedy.
Go ahead.
Because he see a need. Again, he just moved to Andrews. His family moved back to Andrews, and he's been running a successful Boys and Men program in the Palmetto Hope, as you were talking about. And so with all the things that are happening, and again, centered around our youth and our children, his program will help us move forward faster than we would, because he has an established program. And so he's doing some great work to get that organized. He's reaching out to some of the other community leaders for us to meet, I think this Saturday, I believe at noon, just to cover some things to show so everybody else can understand that concept that he kind of laid out to us. So I'll leave it there, but it's a valuable program. It fits into the youth. I mean, the YMCA programs that we have coming here now, the Girl Scouts, all things. Just spoke with a young lady tonight at one of the probably the only good thing that came out of this council meeting was I met Miss Natasha Brockington from Miss Ruby Kids. And so
I did a short interview with her. I think it was at an event that was at the gazebo.
Yeah.
So I remember that name.
We will be discussing the potential of a program coming here again to add to those things that will improve our kids, as well as a speech therapy program that's coming from one of my former soldiers that's living down in Colorado. So a lot of good things that's going to help our kids develop well around. So I wanted to lay that out, and hopefully we'll have Butch on soon to talk about his program.
Yep, and also I don't have it right here in front of me. Let me see if I can pull it up here real fast. The NAACP is having a gala, an event. I don't want to call it the wrong thing. Let me find Eventbrite here to give you guys the exact date. But NAACP is having a program at the Jerusalem Center, and I can't find it fast enough.
February 10th, I believe it is.
Yep. Let's see. Where is Eventbrite? I don't need it as always. There it is right there. Oh, wrong one. That's the organizer. Eventbrite. There we go. And Butch, if you come across this, please send me a flyer, or somebody associated with that event, send me a flyer. Now, don't be mad because I said that the NAACP was not at Martin Luther King. There wasn't a table out there. Now, I'm just pointing out, it's all in love. Don't take me the wrong way, guys. Like I said, we got to have these hard conversations. We can't let opportunities like that slip.
Absolutely.
For personal reasons, because if y'all think I want to be around some of them people at Georgetown County, no, but I do it for the team. All right, let's see what we got here. Find the exact date for this. But also, what I didn't notice, NAACP wasn't there, nor was the county council representative. Either one of them. Raymond Newton or Everett Carolina was not at the MLK program. Now, did Georgetown? Well, they both from this district, so that's what they should have been here, because they spoke so passionately just a couple days before when they was talking about that 1 cent penny tax, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. Let's see here. I'll find that in a minute here. So, you went to council tonight, and what'd you learn at council tonight?
So you got all this trick question for me tonight, huh? Well, it's always good to go to these meetings just as well as our meeting. You stay abreast if there's nothing that's significant coming out. You still know what's happening across the county. I didn't expect much, in terms of the agenda. The agenda was pretty short and simple tonight, but I was hopeful that we would hear more about this passionate plea for Andrews. Well, not necessarily, it wasn't for Andrews, it was for the 3rd and 5th district, because we're only 17% of these two districts combined, according to Mr. Newton. So that means that we don't necessarily, in my opinion, I draw the conclusion that we don't necessarily need representation, when in fact Andrews provides all of the resources for 11,000 people in that 18,000 member combined district, if you will. So that didn't make sense to me, but I heard nothing from that. However, I did have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Carolina. It was a very brief conversation, but nothing has changed, bottom line. And I want folks to understand that, and I'm not here to throw stones at you guys, but they have to, if we're going to,
well, let's
represent first. Okay, that's the bottom line. That's not happening.
All right, for those who are not aware of what I'm talking about, I'm gonna go into, and I'm gonna play it a little fast. So if it's too fast, just let me know. Let's see, share screen. Let's see, which one is that? That's the one right there. Let's go in there. Let's go in there. All right, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So what I have up on the screen is the meeting from January 11th, and what we just started talking about was there was a motion put before council to do away with the 1 cent penny sales tax commission because it did not have people from Andrews on it represented. The people of Andrews were not represented in it. Now, what this says to me, and I'm gonna get into this after I listened to it again the night before the show, I just started thinking some other things. It's like, man, these people are. This politic game is completely, it's dirty, it's filthy,
it's dirty and dangerous,
and really, really dishonest. Like really dishonest, and I think a lot of it hinges upon you not paying attention or you forgetting, you know what I mean, over time. And I don't forget a lot over time, and it just, so So here we got the council at, this is the meeting from January 11th, and let me get into this right now. And if there's a point where you want to make a comment, just say something and I'll stop it. All right, let's get this on the screen. Okay, there it is.
We move on down to resolutions and proclamations. Resolution number 24-01.
And I mean, it's already kind of hard to understand, Chairman. So doing this intentionally, just I got it sped up. Okay, so that's why it's gonna sound like.
A resolution to rescind council's prior approval and authorization to create a commission pursuant to SC Code 4-10-300 in sequence to consider proposals for funding capital projects within Georgetown County. We hear from our attorney, Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, council may recall the last meeting, there was a motion made to rescind, and that since this action was taken by council by resolution.
So when he said last meeting, January 11th, that would have been a month prior. That would have been the December 12th meeting, I think.
Okay.
It would require a resolution to unwind the prior resolution. In the open meeting, that request was made by Councilman Carolina Newton, so the resolution was prepared pursuant to that request. Council now happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from council to our attorney?
No questions, but a statement.
You can do it during the discussion period, really.
Okay.
Okay.
Everett's ready to go.
Well, it's all prepared.
And it is. And it is like
It was a prepared show, coordinated, choreographed by that, I think, by that entire council. But the work that Everett and Raymond put into this was worthy of some low-level award.
I thought I was gonna hand out an award until I came back again and listened to it again, and I can tell you right now that no, it's not deserving of an award. It's incriminating, if anything, and you'll see what I mean as we go along in this. In my opinion.
Any question for our attorney, Mr. Watson? Okay. Well, you've heard the report from Mr. Watson. Is there a motion pertaining to ordinance, to resolution number 24-01?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve resolution number 24-01.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilor Newton to approve resolution number 24-01. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilor Carolina. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This statement is being made to request the rescinding of Resolution 2334 adopted by County Council to establish the duly established Capital Project Sales Tax Commission. The recent selection of commission members for the upcoming Capital Project Sales Tax referendum fails to provide fair representation to Districts 3 and 5, which includes the town municipality of Andrews, South Carolina. The county population per the 2020 census now is 63,404. Registered voters as of January 7th is 46,354. The 6 members of the Andrews Council have expressed their concerns that the current method does not afford representation for their town. Recent conversations have been raised on why Carolina and Newton council members for Andrews had not fought for this representation, but that issue was not our call. County Council is responsible.
You heard what he just said?
Yeah.
That was not their call.
Well, I just no, it's not. And as I've said the entire time, they actually followed the law this time.
So you getting to my point.
Yeah.
And if they follow the law, then somebody needs to take and I'm talking to the feds, need to take a look at what they did. What did they do the first time?
It's not well documented. But I know what the minutes that we have, they went around and I think they went to council meeting and engaged with, it wasn't a set aside public forum, to my understanding. But it was a town meeting, and with respect to it, I don't know what they did otherwise. And they threw this idea out there, and I don't know how much preparation, but according to the minutes, It wasn't a lot of discussion, but they were basically leading the leadership at the time to believe that all these good things can come out of this, and like they would have to do here now and convince your people, in this case Andrews, to vote in favor of this referendum. And I'm not so sure that we read it and understood what that referendum ended up being, and which what we're living with right now. But it was not. The laws were the same back then. It's just that no one was challenging them on upholding the law in the end. And then we didn't fully understand what we were entitled to based on the ordinance, what it clearly spells out. And that's in anything you do. If you don't understand, then people can pull the wool over your eye. And that's exactly what happened with this town in 14. And so leadership change, and then we see exactly what it says, and they don't want to comply with it. So here we are. So what I'm saying, in other words, this show that they put on, they knew these laws were in place months before this came to this point. This, what they did last council meeting, should have been done 4 or 5 months ago when it first came to their attention that they're going to pursue, a new sales tax. This right here, this is after the fact. All the damage is done, for the most part. Now, I'll talk about there's still opportunities to get something on the table, but whether it get approved is a whole different animal. But for this, what they're doing now, they're being misleading to the people, because all of this right here should have happened months ago. And they know it. This is not a surprise to them. They did not go into this process believing that we were going to have any representation. Period. All this right here is a lie before the people.
Was to select 3 citizens, which was done. The resolution approved by council proposed that Georgetown City, Andrews, and Paulus Island each have 1 representative, but state law also sets out a formula that must be used to select the municipal representatives.
That's that CYA moment right there, where he tries to cover his right. He tries to cover his ass right there when he throws that in there. But
Yeah.
and I understand that is the standard.
Right. And they knew this. And now you'll hear later on in this, when Raymond get on his soapbox, and he will mention, this is the thing, pay close attention to it. He will say that there was an agreement among his other council members.
Yes.
Now, that's key. He said there was an agreement that there will be representation from, again, I don't know if it's from Andrews or just the 2 districts that Andrews, resides at. But he said that. Now, the point I'm making is that nobody came back and discounted what he said, that there was so was there an agreement? And if there was an agreement, then
they knew.
They knew this.
They knew this from the. Here we go.
Based on the formula and population, Georgetown got 2 members, Andrews with a population of 2,075, and Paulus Island with a population of 130. Thus, Andrews and Paulus Island are not eligible for any seats on the commission per the law. So under the law, the 2 Georgetown commission members.
So what law were they what law were they using? Because these laws are the same.
Well, it's the same thing they should have followed before. And now I will say the mayor of the city of Georgetown in 2014 made sure that Andrews had representation. So I think it was Mr. Altman, not Mr. Altman, Mr. Alford sat on that commission then. Okay, so it is, and what he's reading is exactly right. But with all of this expressing this concern and that, like, they just learned about it. No, they knew this and could have put in measures. Give up the 3 that they have. I'm not 3, 1. That's all they had to do. So this right here is just smoke and mirror, man. But it's entertaining. Yeah, it's entertaining.
The 3rd commission member from outside their own municipality. Come forth Mayor McClary with 2 nominees, and Mayor Henry with one nominee.
Stop it right
for
there.
the-
Stop it there, please. Now, so, and I'm probably going to send him this because the conversation he and I had tonight, he said he wasn't aware that we had nominations, and I reminded him that I personally took the package. I took 2 sets of packets down to the city of Georgetown, which was required, and also took a set of this list based on the guidance they gave us. And I took it to Georgetown that day. It was the day before Thanksgiving. And I gave it to the county's attorney. He was the only one there because I think they meant, well, he said the administrator was off on vacation.
Thanksgiving.
And he took the packets. He said, I'm going to put it on her desk. And I watched him walk in there and put it on her desk. Tonight, he said, I never submitted anything to him. That wasn't the guidance. The guidance was where I took it to. But regardless of that, they still had meetings where our names were presented. So for him to say tonight that it didn't happen, and now he's clearly saying it on this thing here, which
I'll clip it up for you.
which truth are we dealing with here with this guy? Just be straight
Georgetown-
about it and say we didn't have any intentions of having any representation, as opposed to this right here is not for what they're doing here. What they did is not for Mayor McCleary. They're now trying to convince these folks to vote for them, that they actually care about us because there's an upcoming election. That's what this is about.
That's what this is about.
I mean, it's that simple.
Commission members select the nominee from Paulus Island, and the town of Andrews is shut out again. What's wrong with this picture? Maybe the law needs to be changed. On a historical note, the United States finally began allowing women to vote in 1920 after ratification of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. And the 24th Amendment.
I haven't made that connection right there. And you can see right there where Raymond's laughing.
He's
You see
laughing. He probably said, I didn't know you were going to use that line. I got that in mind too.
Yeah.
These 2 guys here, man, need to have their own show.
I didn't mean to do that. Hold on.
Meaning new city.
Hold on. Did not.
Yeah, we're
do
a whole new
that.
topic.
All right, hold on. Let's get back to where I was. There we go.
You've heard a report from Mr. Watson. Is there a motion pertaining to ordinance?
The 6 members of the Andrews Council have expressed their concerns that the current method does not afford representation for their town. Recent conversations have been raised on why Carolina and Newton Council.
And he said the 6 council members. I haven't heard the 6 council members bring that up nowhere. He talking about the 6 council members from Andrews.
Yeah. See, again, here's what he did, and I spoke to him about that too. He called. I haven't heard from Mr. Carolina. Never heard from Raymond. So he's just not there. But I haven't heard from this man in months since the EMS issue that we didn't get support on. Okay. So now he started calling people the night before this meeting so he can make this very deceptive or misleading statement that he spoke with all of us. Well, again, this conversation should have been had back in July, or as soon as they made, because they're familiar with it. He was present when they tried when they attempted the 2020 referendum, and it failed because they couldn't get it together. So he knows the rules. So again, to be here, putting on this show was a waste of taxpayers' dollars, to be honest. And again, it was entertaining.
Council members for Andrews had not fought for this representation, but that issue was not our call. County council is responsible was to select 3 citizens, which was done. The resolution approved by council proposed that Georgetown City, Andrews, and Paulus Island each have 1 representative, but state law also sets out a formula that must be used to select the municipal representatives. Based on the formula and population, Georgetown got 2 members, Andrews with a population of 2,075, and Paulus Island with a population of 130. Thus, Andrews and Paulus Island are not eligible for any seats on the commission per the law. So under the law, the 2 Georgetown Commission members must select the 3rd commission member from outside their own municipality. Come forth Mayor McClary with 2 nominees and Mayor Henry with 1 nominee. So the Georgetown Commission members select the nominee from Paulus Island, and the town of Andrews is shut out again. What's wrong with this picture? Maybe the law needs to be changed. On a historical note, the United States finally began allowing women to vote in 1920 after ratification of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. And the 24th Amendment, which was ratified in 1964, paved the way for the voting rights.
I think the problem is on this go around, they would have to do the right thing. They're gonna have to do the right thing. So
Act of 1965, which secured voting rights for adult citizens of all races and genders in the form of federal laws that enforce the amendments.
hey, he ain't said that, man. My granddaddy, my great granddaddy, Jerry Gamble, was voting in 1882. He's 24-year-old black man. So I don't know what he talking about.
Maybe this state law should also be changed to provide representation for the town of Andrews.
And oh, look.
Oh yeah, he says my turn. This is the old WWF, WWE
Hey,
tag
look
team.
at him. Hey, he dropped it like a mic drop. It popped his coat and it sat back like, yeah.
Because and his friend to his left is like, hey, good job, but watch my show.
Laughing at him.
Yeah, none of that. It's embarrassing. But he's proud because he rehearsed this and he thinks he nailed it.
He did not nail it at all.
No, it's
Look at him. What is he looking at?
well, I'm sitting directly in front of him, so I don't know if that was for me or not. I don't know, but
Any other comments from council?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And I had to speed this up. Let me see if I can speed it up a little bit more because this slow talking hayseed.
If you would just bear with me. We'll be covering quite a few things here. Thank you, Mr. Carolina.
This was the real prepared shit.
Whoa, hey,
Just-
he went for the Oscar. Like he missed
Well,
his caller.
see,
He should have been acting.
Well, what Raymond was trying to do is, make a cry for his district, and keep his relationship with the folks from the council members from the Waccamaw Neck, and then everything, on the surface for his constituents would appear that he is really trying. But I will remind folks, these are the same 2 cats who hasn't voted for anything else, life or death matters, ambulance, the destruction of that building over there, which released gas and almost seriously injured a young man from the Georgetown County Public Works, and that young man is still on light duty. Nobody received any disciplinary action for that. It had that building blown up, it probably would have killed some of our firefighters who was the responders. There's no ambulance here for to quickly assess anything, and neither one of them ever did to a certain degree. But there was no public statement until long after the damage was done before Raymond said anything. So this mess that they're putting out here in front of the people, it's mess. I'll leave it at that. Simply put, that is disingenuous and not being honest. And he's trying to make sure that, and again, it's choreographed.
Yeah.
It's
And
choreographed.
listen, you can go back to our show prior to this vote or the night of this. I don't know when I did that, but I called it 4-3. Once I saw the agenda, I knew it was going to be a 4-3 vote. They're going to make it look like it's so it's close, it's contentious, But
Now, and the only person I'll give some credit to a degree is Mr. Bob Anderson. Or Bob, I think it's Bob Anderson.
big money.
He'll ask the hard questions, and that makes them uncomfortable because he'll ask well thought out questions.
He did that tonight. He asked the county, the administrator is administrating over areas that she has no geographical knowledge of. She don't know where these places are. She, I would think some of the stuff, I take a ride around the county. If I'm over this county and to get an idea of when I'm running running these things up and trying to make these changes and all this other stuff. And Bob did that tonight to her. Ask her some questions.
Yeah,
And she
so
just
I
had
give
to-
him. Yeah, and now he's all the way, for his district and but he keeps them honest with some tough questions that they're not ready for. And you're right. Tonight was an example of that when he started asking questions about this fund, this very large fund balance. In layman's term, slush fund. That doesn't have a policy to cover that much money in the pot.
And they started backtracking. They said they got what she said
They're gonna change the policy.
35% or something. And
Yeah.
and they, like she wasn't even speaking in matter of fact. She was like, I think it's like it's a lot of
Well,
all right, let's
we'll talk more about that, but yeah, that's what was happening. But again, Bob Anderson challenged these guys, and there was a reason. If you look at it, when Councilman Morant or Chairman Morant was going to start the voting process with the young man on the end, but he changed it and said, no, we'll start with Bob, because they wanted to hear wherever he goes, he could disrupt their plan, because he's not necessarily bought into a lot of the foolishness down there. There's a lot of things that he and Raymond disagree on. For Raymond, spend a lot of time making motions and decisions as it impacts the people from Pawleys Island, which is not part of his district, and that's not okay with Mr. Bob. And so I give him respect for being brutally honest. To be honest with you, he was
the one that told us that. Listen, the reason why you're not getting no help on the mainland Georgetown County is because the people over in Pawleys Island, that 130, you already said 130.
Yeah,
they the ones that's paying the bill for the county.
And if you believe that narrative, that's where you'll go. But again, you're still talking just over 100 citizens over there, where we have 2575, not 2075, 2575. And so I have, mad respect for him being brutally honest. I don't, he and I don't agree on some of the things he said, but
you know where Bob's coming from.
You know where he's coming from, and it's not wrong. That's just his opinion and how he chooses to represent his district. So he don't like folks coming over there meddling, and that's what Raymond does a lot of, as opposed to spending his time learning what we have going on. So he wouldn't have to put on a show like this that doesn't reward them at all. Facts.
Yep. Here we go.
Just at first to clarify a few things that you might have read in Gab News or Coastal Observer.
They want to clear up some things you read in Gab News or Coastal Observer. Gab didn't print it. He's talking about the comments.
I know.
Most of those articles always state Andrews without representation. Well, that is true.
Accurate.
But Andrews only consists of 17% of District 3 and 17% of District.
If you could pause there. Please.
Yeah.
And I don't want to control your show.
No. I knew that was. I knew that was coming. But go ahead.
But this bothers me. If 17%. So if someone do the quick Google, you'll see that Andrews, the 29510, to include those that are over in Williamsburg, and Osita, Big Dam, and parts of Lambertown falls under 29510. That those kids and those families, everyone comes here for school in those areas. So you're talking about probably about a 15-mile radius, something like that. But it has 11,000 people that is under that 29510. We provide them the service. This is where they get service. This is where they shop. Many of them go to church here, and a lot of other services. So then, why wouldn't you have an interest in making sure that the systems here and the support system is in place for these people when they come here? So you can't discount that because your population is that. A lot of them come here. This is the closest municipality. So again, that's misleading, and he knows that. And if he doesn't, now he does. He knows that.
5. That leaves 83% from District 3 and 5 or live outside the city limits of Andrews. When you read the articles, it kind of insinuates that we're just focusing on the town of Andrews, but we're not. We have 18,000 residents. But
that you do nothing for.
Right. Look at Italy.
That's his district.
Large number.
Right here, Italy, Big Dam and others are in his district, in District 5. They're the park where the kids go. Now I think they've recently taken that off of their parks and recreation. That thing hasn't been updated probably in 40 years. The little horse that kids can rock back and forth. That thing has almost disappeared under the
You
land.
see, you see them in pictures when they used to test nuclear bombs, and they have the little makeshift parks.
So it's long before this issue that those things should be addressed. They have a sewer issue over there. They don't have the proper sewer infrastructure to even make it to the town system. That's the District 5 rep's responsibility. So all of a sudden now the rest of his district is of concern of his. So you don't buy this, man. These guys here are blowing smoke, and they expect the people to, just support them, and that's it's unbelievable.
Number of people. How did we get where we are tonight? Councilman Carolina did a great job explaining some of the details. When we passed the resolution for the CPST, council gets 3 selections. And like Councilman Carolina said, the city of Georgetown got 2. And as of 2014 referendum that was passed, also the city of Georgetown got 2. District 7, since it would not be represented, would get 1. District 1, 2, and 6, we agreed would get the other 2. So the District 4.
That's what he's talking about right there. They agree.
Free plan outside of a formal council meeting. They're making decisions like this. That's encouraging.
Or
That's against the law.
city of Georgetown got 2, which made a total of 6. In 2014, the 6th member came from the west side of the county, which was in Andrews. And this is what we expected to happen this year. If we would have known it was going to turn out like this, we never would have approved of the 3 council members.
Now he's contradicting himself. So he said, just like then, he expected it to come from Andrews.
Because they planned outside of council.
Listen to this guy. He just said it, but a minute ago, Andrews not that important because we're only 17%. But based on the history of how they do business since 2014 with the same, he said he expected to come. He said that out of his mouth, but then he'll go on now and make an argument for something else. Not to be believable, man. And this is a guy who made a living here off of these people. But then you can't support them for the things that are necessary for them to survive or any comfort for any improved quality of life. Think about that. Millions of dollars.
We voted on.
Absolutely. True statement there.
When councilors Anderson, McCarto, and Elliott asked us to approve the 2 from the Walkable Neck area, we obliged.
When did they do that? At council meeting or when?
And none of this is executive session, meets executive session criteria. So when did this conversation take place? It should be minutes for it, but we know in executive session there, take minutes, and all discussion stays in there. So, sir, when did y'all decide? When did all this debate went on?
We voted for those.
So this
as
is
well,
what I'm
Chairman
saying.
Moran,
They're
when you asked us to
themselves.
vote for yours, we did as well.
Hold on.
Because we expected the right thing to
Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conversation and thought, according to Raymond, that went into this election thing, or what he thought was going to be the outcome. My question now is, when did that occur? Which meeting was that? Was that the December? Which I don't know if they met in December. I know they take some time. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, they
the
met.
point is-
They met in December.
Yeah, so it should be some public minutes for that. But again, nobody's holding these guys accountable for what they do. So then this full-blown discussion and decision was made with the council, which had a quorum, that made decisions that now impacts basically the entire county. Definitely us.
We would have known it was going to turn out like this, we never would have approved of the 3 council members that we voted on.
See, and
When
had they did it publicly,
Councilors
it would have been
Anderson, Carter,
documented.
and Elliott asked us to approve the 2 from the Walkmall Neck area. We obliged.
He naming names too.
He dropping names big time.
Dropping names.
We voted for those as well. Chairman Morant, when you asked us to vote for
Ooh, right over red.
yours, we did as well, because we expected the right thing to be done by the commission and appoint one from Andrews, just like in 2014.
How?
Am I hearing double? Is there an echo in this room?
Because he's sitting there saying they got 2 from the Walkmall Neck because of old Daddy Rabbit over there beside him and Big Money Bob, and then they got the 3rd one from Morant's district. And so where was he thinking the other 2 was going to come from when the decision was left to Georgetown?
I have no idea. They knew what was going to happen. They knew.
But as everyone knows now, that was not done. And the 3rd one come from the Walkmall Neck.
So they lied to him. In other words, what he's saying. So now what's going to precede this is his plea to help them understand how much he loved them, and he's not mad, and he respects them for what they do and all of this, great and wonderful stuff. But they lied to you. If what you're saying is true.
It's our fault for believing that the commission would do the right thing.
See,
We take blame for that.
We who?
apparently, he and his sidekick there to the right.
In hindsight, if we would have known how this was going to turn out, we would have never voted for the 3 commission members that y'all.
Which would have meant nothing on a 7-person panel, 7-person council. Your 2 votes would have done what?
Requested. Now everybody expects Councilman Carolina and myself to stay quiet and to go along with the process, and to tell over 18,000 residents that you're not worthy to even have 1 seat at the table.
He sound like he care.
Oh my God.
He sound like he care.
And that's all we're asking, 1 seat at the table. And believe me when I tell you, that is not going to happen. We're not going to go along with it. In 2 years, we're going to be celebrating our 250th birthday as a country.
Here we go with the history lesson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He about to get passionate now. Taxation without representation. Stop stealing our lives, man. We brought that back.
It's kind of ironic that we fought a war for taxation without representation, but here we are 248 years later fighting this. South Carolina, most of you might not know, but there was the 2nd most amount of battles in the Revolutionary War was fought right here in this state. You have just within this county, you had family names like Marinos.
Man, hold on. I'm not about to let you just sit there and just go with all that foolishness you talk. Let me get back to some other stuff. He about to try to play on the heartstrings of the people, and I'm
The
not.
table. If I had my choice, give me the ladies sitting at the sewing machines day after day. Give me the farmers, the workers that destroy the pleasure to work with. There's no
And he's saying all this stuff about
simple as that.
how he care about the
Simple as that.
the people of Andrews and the Oneida workers and all this stuff, but his voting record says something else.
His representation, none. There was no opportunity to vote on anything for Andrews because nothing was ever presented from he or Everett Carolina. So their voting record is perfect because it's for another district.
Absolutely.
Their motions, the thing that they bring to the table, is always for the Walkmall Neck. Now I'll give it to Everett. He spent time up in the Grave Station, and he's had this this long fight about, sewer and Santee and Sanford. That's cool. But Raymond, he can't say that about Andrews, where he lives. Now he can take credit for for the recycle center, which I think is, was a good thing for the Big Dam area. Kudos.
But that was campaign money. That was money
it.
from the 1 cent penny sales tax that could have been put into the town hall, or you know what I mean. That was money he shouldn't have had.
No, but yeah. But here's the deal: he still could have had that because there's still money sitting there to complete
Right
this
now.
thing. So it's money there. It's just that they don't want to support it because there's a guy who calls them out and who holds them accountable. That's as simple as it is. And they wouldn't get called out if they come to the table and let's talk about it. But this mess he's got going here, wasting time, is just ridiculous.
Disagree a lot. That's what good government's about. We debate a lot, but when it comes down to it, I think each one of you will do the right thing. You always have, and I think you always will. Now, since we put forth this resolution to kill this committee, what's the plan? Well, this is the plan. And hear me out. We approve this resolution, which will in fact kill the CPST. And we can come back and do this thing right. Because if we're not going to do it right, don't do it at all.
I mean, you could say that about 2014. Like,
You haven't done it right yet. You didn't do it right in 14. You didn't do it right in 20, which never passed. And here we are in 2024.
If we don't, and we continue on with the CPST, out of all the negative press that it's already got, all the debates that's been going back and forth, you're going to endanger passing the loss referendum.
And
This
that's
one fails.
that's the only thing. And again, he's not afraid of that because again, the plan was a 4-3 vote. This was never ever going to rescind this resolution. Never ever. But he knows he's now pleading to the people again. Yeah, go ahead and pass it. Give us access to $100 million, and we're going to do the same thing that we've done with the last 41 million. We're going to use it for our own purposes. You get a small percentage of it, and we'll use it for our own purpose. That's as simple as it is. I have no reason to exaggerate on this issue or fabricate. It is what he wants. That's what they want. There was never any intent to rescind this order, and so here we are. And they're we have a meeting here on the 20th. Well, this Thursday, 25th. So things continue.
what time is that meeting?
I think it's 5:30 at the library.
5:30. I got Girl Scout that day, which means I'll be down there. I need to make it over there. I gotta get Mima to sit in with Kaja or somebody so I can make it to that meeting. And that was that theatrical thing they put on. Now, you mentioned something about a wastewater treatment or a grant or something that the county put in place, but they never funded or they never.
Are you talking about the storm drain project?
Storm drain project. There you go.
Well, that came because on the agenda tonight there were I think they were introducing a resolution, I think, to purchase an easement, a temporary easement, so they can do some construction. And I can't remember the area.
Frank something Shire.
Yeah, it's in my notes somewhere. But bottom line is it's a storm drain project. I mean, the same thing we had to do here. So a lot of money was in 2018 to begin the process. We did it. Again credit to the county for the initiative to have our storm drain system modeled and tested to see again all the flooding we had and we still having. So then funds were acquired through grant, and I think some local in-kind match or something like that. Anyway, to get these dollars to do this study. So they modeled our storm drain system, and when it came out of that, so now we know where pretty much where all of the water is collected is sit. So there's, so we know where these things are. We kind of knew that because we recorded things when, over the time, we knew exactly where people were flooding. And so they brought in some engineers, and which was Stantec company, very good company, did a great job. Mr. Art Baker from, engineer from the county, fantastic job. We worked very closely together to get this study done. I think about over 8 and 9 month period, a study was done to show us, here's the problem. Out of that was, I think about, probably less than a dozen solutions to this thing. But of course you can't, it's very expensive. So the decision was made that they have enough funding through this grant to build a new water outfall. So it was already done. We briefed this. This was well known, and so it was going to go from the rec center south down through across Myrtle Road and connect with the existing outfall, which is right there to and it goes on out to the Johnson Swamp. So we're currently right now, long story short, we have 2 outfalls, one on the south side of the town and one on the north side of town off of Magnolia, and it runs parallel to the railroad track. But we see that hasn't been maintained, so that primary exit for water doesn't go anywhere. It comes back in people's yard because those ditches weren't maintained by the state. And as we talked before, a lot of these ditches that we have in front of the yards and things are now covered, and water can't pass. So, when I was coming up, I'm 10 years older than you. I started to say younger, but that ain't going to happen. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy that. But when we were coming up, there were huge ravines and ditches and the water passed on through. All those things were covered up. In fact, where the apartment complex, that arbor, that's sitting over, and it appears that the storm drain system wasn't properly installed. So those things created that. So through this study, they determined that what we can't afford with the monies that they have in hand was this one outfall, which would have reduced the flooding probably about 70%, 75%. That's a win. And then through some other efforts we were doing with the Nature Conservancy Group and other nature, focused organization, was to do some other things to mitigate some of the flooding in town. All that is seen, a lot of that is seen in our visioning plan. We talk about, flooding and resiliency and all that kind of business, to do things to be proactive to prevent some of the flooding. This started in 2018. We're in 2024. We learned last year that the project now is over, they don't have enough money. So $4 million plus is not enough to do this one project. No one told us that.
So they got money.
Yes. And then apparently when they went to bid and put it out there for bid, the bids came back that were excessive to what they had in hand. That's, again, I wasn't there for it. This is what I'm getting long after that process took place. We got contacted by state because they thought it was our grant, but BioSwarm, yes. And I'm gonna have to, yeah. So then now it's at risk of losing this fund because they haven't committed those funds over this period of time. And so I'm not so sure what's going to happen. But yet again, this is added to a laundry list of things where Andrews just have not been taken care of. So when these things fall through like this, the first start going to come to mind is this, this is just dereliction of duty. This is an,
But they were patting themselves on the back tonight. Let's see what clip I got up right here. Okay, this is that park and recreation. Let's get past that. All right, everybody voted for that. Lincolnshire. This is what they were talking about, and this is like, to your point, when you say Bob will throw a monkey wrench in things. That's a different wig.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Bob, I give him that. He's he's a straight shooter. You may not like it, he may be abrasive, but apparently he's not a part of these sidebar conversations. And they're not sure what he's going to come with, but he typically comes with facts. He's done his work. You know, he spent a lot of time with the Department of Defense, I think, contracting. So he's a straight shooter.
The wig makes her look younger, though. I give her that.
Nah, I'm not messing with you. So the administrator gonna make me explain what this bioswales are, which basically things that absorbs stormwater that helps again mitigate flooding. And so we got rain gardens. You know, some rain gardens have been planted here. One over by the library, which again by the Nature Conservancy, and one over, I think, at the elementary school. And so that's what these bioswales just landscaping features that absorb a lot of the water. And you'll see some of that in our vision and plan, how we plan to implement those things as a part of this whole resiliency process.
All right, let me get up here. Where we at? New wig.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. Any questions for Madam Administrator?
Yes. How many properties are we targeting to get this just
I think it's like a dozen.
a dozen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the $10,000, that's the maximum amount in offering to offer as compensation to the property owners?
Yes, I think the amount that the folks from CDBG that are facilitating.
So are they talking about acquiring these people's land?
No, you have to have access wherever this point that they want to put in this storm drain system. They have to have access to it. And so then the option, same thing we had to do here. We had a few dozen landowners that we had to get permission to construct this new outfall. And so what they're saying, so now the landowners can agree to do it and just write it off, give us permission to do it, or they may say, okay, well, I want to sell it. And it sounds like in this case, there's money that they're allocating for this $10,000, I believe.
She keeps saying the CDBG.
Yeah, that's that Community Development Block Grant, and it's a part of that process. You have to have ownership of this land before grants are approved. Okay. They're not. If you don't have it all done, laid out, then you're going to be at risk of losing that grant. So they have to have permission to do these things before they tie up state money into it.
She kind of looked like Fonnie Willis.
This grant, they have the
I ain't following you up.
rates based on the size of the temporary easement that's in the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, Councilor Anderson.
Ms. Angela,
Yes, sir.
did you say this is a temporary easement?
That's what I understand. Yes.
Okay, where is this property? I'm not even sure.
Oh boy, Bob cold hearted. Look at that little smirk right there.
He's got his game players on now.
Yes,
Lincolnshire.
I don't want to put you on the spot here.
you just did, Bob. Stop with that. I don't want to put you on the spot crap. You just did.
I just didn't know where it was myself.
And here comes Captain Saver. Go ahead, Everett. It's where?
The dividing line between our districts.
Lincolnshire.
McDonald Road.
Yeah, it's the Hilton McDonald Road.
McDonald
Yeah,
Road? Okay, I'm with you. I wasn't sure where it was. Thank you.
Sure. Any additional questions for Madam Administrator?
So this is the first point before would it be Waccamaw Regional that's doing the paperwork to get the information out to the property owners?
As I understand that, yes, they are the facilitator for this portion of this grant project. This project is a CDB project. This has really been going on for 2 years. For us even to get to this point, it has been extremely lengthy for us to meet all the requirements.
So we need this before.
And they went on to talk about that, but there's something else in there that I kind of caught on earlier.
That was the
let's see,
presentation of the
Right here.
the audit.
this guy right here.
Yeah, I guess that company did the audit for the
And
county.
what is an audit?
Oh, basically, I mean, they're going in to make sure that your finances are straight at the end of the year. And they check all this in to make sure your processes or whatever that are straight, in your accounting methodology and all those things that are clear. And so it's a lot of things that go into it. And I think in this case, and I think that's what you're getting at, because that's what got a lot of the discussion when they mentioned the fund balance.
Yeah, and that's there you go. And let me see if this is where this is.
I want us to be frugal, but we're
Okay, that's exactly where it
Yes,
is.
sir.
and that's not a criticism. You know what?
Yes, sir.
Bob will tell you what he's
I
doing.
appreciate that. Because I mean, this is fine, but that's a bit. It's looking in a crystal ball, but is there a way? I know there's got to be a way that we could either what kind of a risk factor we put on that number.
What I could do is give you some of the policies or give your staff some of the policies that we've seen in other counties, and even put staff in connection with some of the other counties that we deal with to give them a feel for, hey, how are they setting that policy so that it makes good sense, financial and physical sense for the county as a whole. And then they could bring that back to you as a board to determine what you think.
Madam Administrator, could you put together something for us that takes a look at the drivers of that risk, positive or negative? And I'd just be interested to seeing, where we really stand with that. Is there a 50% risk in this? Is there a 90% risk in this month, in this number? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I guess this is kind of the segue.
I would appreciate that. Because I mean, this is fine, but that's a big management reserve. I wish I had that. Thank you.
Yes,
So-
in fact, we have been discussing amongst,
I think I cut him off too early.
Yeah, essentially is that, you're only by law and only allowed to have so much money saved, unspent, uncommitted at any entity. Same thing for us. And so then there should be a policy in place that's in line with state or federal guidelines. I think in this case, probably state, that this is what you're allowed to have in this. And the forbidden word is slush fund, but that's for layman's, just kind of anticipating. No, that's where a part of your budget process, you have to, it's all guesstimate on what you're going to spend based on your historical spending. And, again, between your revenue and your expenses. And now you do your best guess to get it right. And that's all budget. Nothing, you're looking, as he said earlier, into this crystal ball and say, here's what we're going to need based on our history and any, projects or things we have coming up. And then that budget should be balanced. Now, things change over time. And as she stated in here, it could be a lot of things some things you can't predict. If there's a, disaster comes along, then there has to be money available for that. But you should not plan to have, pretty much, keeping this bucket of money just in case. That's not the way
Well, let's let them finish, because that's what she said. That's what
and then
kinda.
what was discovered in this audit is greater than what their current policy allowed for. And I think it was 37% of the policy. Now they're talking
Yeah.
about changing the policy to increase this amount of money that they can hold over. And I think that's bad. That's bad. That's risky. And that's what Bob was talking about. This, what, where are we writing? What are we putting ourselves at risk for? And I don't know, and I can't speak to the penalties for that, I'd have to talk to, CPA, but you can't do that because again, these government entities, government is a nonprofit organization. You're not doing business for a profit. Okay. That's the thing to it. And so, yeah.
Let's see what she says here.
We look forward to bringing you a recommendation and a revision of what our policy has been in the past. One of the things that I mentioned to you when I first got here is I thought what we had in reserves was too low. And it was too low because we're a coastal community. We are a hurricane away from a disaster.
What she's saying doesn't make any sense then.
No, well, they're trying to justify
why they got so much money.
Why so much money. And to her point, there's a lot, where we are, there's
I get that, but there's a criteria, there's a number.
Yeah.
So she said, when I got here, I thought it was too low. That's not for her to determine.
There's some other things that have to be considered as opposed to just an opinion.
Gotcha.
I'll say that. And I don't know. I know how we manage ours, and like administrators stated here, this is to prevent this, like you say, any perception of fraud or fraud risk. And so it's very sensitive. And so to bring it if they haven't talked to Mr. Anderson, he's going to see it. He's well versed. He was on this council before, so he know what right looks like. And so I wonder if he didn't make that point, whether this thing would have come up in the first place. Because you're talking about, I don't know, I think their budget someplace 100 million or probably a little over 100 million. It's a lot of money. And of course, they got large responsibility too, but still the accounting principles and those things, all that stuff still applies whether you're a municipality or a
So I mean, if they're sitting on that money, theoretically, they could have released Andrews's money for that building a long time ago. Right.
So, and I don't know whether it was a percentage he said. I don't know whether the amount, but right, that's a lot of money. Just like when that building they tore down and had that problem and they had to throw $324,000 at it.
Yep.
There's money there, and again, it doesn't make sense for you to have all this money that available. And I understand the different parts of money, but you just invested into a $67 million detention center. You have all this money for all these other things, but you won't do the right thing with respect to this capital project sales tax dollars. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. And the more I look at that wig, it's just getting funnier. Looking at them, I got to keep going.
I'm very proud that it's gotten to this level, but we also anticipate, and some of the reasons that we had the fund balance where we had it is because of vacancies. We have really worked in the last few months to fill a lot of those vacancies. So we don't expect it to be quite this high at the end of 2024, but we're still very conservative in our projections. We watch our expenditures pretty close, but we look forward to bringing you a recommendation on what we believe the standards should be as we move forward for your consideration.
Well, I'm glad we're conservative.
Now, to her point, and again, if you're not full staff, all that money you planned for, for salary and overtime or whatever else that's built into there, you will have, if you don't fill those slots, you will have monies that's uncommitted. But all of you can clearly see that. You should be able to clearly see that because every penny is allocated to a line item. So if she's saying over this period of time, I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know how long it's been, but for that pot of money to be that substantial, I don't know if that's from one year's budget. I'm not sure, and I don't want to judge her on that. But she's right. You will have money if you don't use it.
Get me wrong. I just, I want us to be frugal, but we're trying to run a county.
Yes, sir.
And that's not a criticism,
Yes, sir.
I just want to understand the number. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Newton.
Mr. Thompson, want to follow up on Mr. Anderson there. On the fund balance as a percentage of the general fund, and I know every county's different and the budgets are hugely different.
Same rule.
Is there a rule of thumb
that is a red line that number.
He's saying every county's different. Why would every county be different if it's coming from the state?
Yeah, he does his best to support everybody except where he lives. But and there's differences in certain things. But again, this is pretty clear. You see, if you recall that the CPA did, and that's not his job to get into necessarily the policy, their policy procedures. But he said very professionally, I will offer up, because he has other clients, and he would offer up, directly to people so they can see an example of how this thing should be done correctly, where you would reduce your risk of being penalized or whatever the consequences for not
having too much money.
Yeah.
All right.
Number, when it drops below that a certain percentage, you're in the danger zone, so to speak.
So he's struggling with this.
Oh, sorry, Karis.
That's all right. I'll just help you out here. So we currently have a policy in place that says that the general fund balance can't go below $8 million or 35% of the budgeted expenses for that year. So.
All right. So
she just cleared it up.
She said $8 million.
Can't go below 8 million or 35%. So apparently what they have in there is substantially more than 8 million. You hear what I'm saying? We're not talking, pennies and dimes. So you got to, they must be real short if that kind of money is accumulated just from not filling your, salary or your positions.
I mean, that's what she suggested. They must have skeleton crews.
So right now, so we've kind of given it a 35% minimum balance, kind of.
Hold on. She said kinda. Is that what she said?
I think so.
Near future, we're going to bring that to you.
Thank you so much.
This high at, we move forward.
At Wig.
Anderson there. On the fund balance as a percentage of the.
Was talking about, could we include some comparisons?
Dollars or 35% of the.
Below that a certain percentage, you're in the danger zone, so to speak.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, Karis.
That's all right. I'll just help you out here.
I could have walked him. He would have just let me get up there.
That says that the general fund balance can't go below $8 million or 35%
All right,
of
let's
the
listen to her.
budgeted expenses for that year. So right now, so we've kind of given it a
We've kind of
35% minimum balance, kind of.
How do you kind of do that? As either you do it or you don't.
But that's the policy that we're talking about working on and changing.
Okay, so they're not doing it. They're talking about working on it and changing it. I'll listen to it again. Yeah, that's a little fast talk right there.
Okay.
In the near future, we're going to bring that to you.
Thank you so much.
So we don't have it right. Go ahead.
No, they're currently operating under the policy that says below 8 million or 35%. What they found themselves is, again, significantly over
35%,
and it's just now coming out. So, so that's what concerns, at least one member on the council, Mr. Bob Anderson. Mm-hmm. I'm sure everybody else would have slept right through the rest of the presentation and would have stand up and give a round of applause.
Yeah, because it was sounding sweet. Now I'm talking about we got. Yeah, everything. The numbers are perfect. From last year, it was up this much from the previous years. He was milking them.
And again, it's the audit's all for you to make sure you're doing it. You got systems in place and doing these things right, and you're going to find where there's room for improvement in your process and in your policies. And that's what it's all about. The good thing is that, he didn't come back and say there was any fraud, any of that stuff, which is good. Obviously you don't want that. But again, you have to stay within those guidelines. And so, we learn from it. I mean, I think all budgets, you learn, you change your policy here and there. But this obviously was very concerning to Mr. Anderson. And, he talked about it.
Yes, Dr. Thomas.
This is probably maybe for Karis, or thank you for the audit. Could we include, along the lines of what Councilor Anderson was talking about, could we include some comparisons with counties of our size and also incorporate maybe 3-year projections based on.
Becky don't have the good hair no more. Becky, what happened to Becky hair?
I'm not following you up.
No, you know, I mean, you know, I'm on the head tonight now. I mean, it's like old dreadlock right there. But that's not. Hold on a second. Hold on, man. Becky done change her hair up. Then you know, let that council turn your hair gray. You ain't been on there a year yet.
I didn't have this when I got here either. You see, and this job is not for the. It's not
Look at
for
Becky.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
It's
Look
tough work. This is tough work.
Becky, you better go do something else, sweetheart. God, dog, you the age. Like, look at that.
Nah, it's tough work, and you know, so for anybody that wants to be in this business, man, you just know it's a lot of, because especially if you're trying to do it right, it's going to wear on you. And I mean, like I said, I didn't have any of this when I came here. 8 years later, I'm, you know, Frosty the Snowman.
Wow, man, Becky.
So it's
I got to change your name now. You ain't Becky with the good hair no more. You looking like.
But what I like about it is, you know, they call it, and she recognized too that you know, they're gonna have to change their policies, and that's a good thing. And so, but if you let it go undone, then you'll continue to do the same thing. So again, I'll give her credit as well as Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, because Miss Lily Johnson over there don't know what's going on.
Expected revenues, and then also where would the upcoming bond go for the jail?
Okay, so yes, we.
There we go. Keep your eye on the prize, Becky. Hey, Becky know what she know what the ultimate game is.
Work on 3-year projections out as to where we think fund balance is going to go from here. And the bond will be paid for through the debt service fund. So it's going to go into that section that is under.
Okay,
where was that?
I gotcha.
And the bond she's talking about is the bond for the jail.
Yeah, it's $67 million detention center. And so, and I won't say that I understand that whole process, but I do know that committing that funding tool to all of that, to that, it puts them in it limits their flexibility in what they can do. So they're going to have to now put things in place to ensure that if there's a problem, they have funds available or can qualify to get more. So it's I believe, again, from the outside looking, it's going to be a tight rope this year as they manage this budget. And they've already done a budget adjustment. You know, in the first quarter, there's already millions now have been redistributed somewhere else. So you probably can anticipate another more of that as they try to manage themselves through this thing here. So they may have backed themselves into a corner.
Go for the jail.
Okay, so yes, we can work on 3-year projections out as to where we think fund balance is going to go from here. And the bond will be paid for through the debt service fund. So it's going to go into that section that is under.
Okay,
where was that?
I gotcha.
But it'll be paid
1.6.
through the debt service fund.
Okay.
Okay, Councilor Carolina.
This question could be to Karis or Mr. Thompson. Regarding the stormwater utility,
Yes, sir.
what do you anticipate the revenues to bring that cash balance up?
Well, we've already received the negative, the $483,000. Actually, we've received like 600.
Is this the money I was talking about earlier?
See, I'm not clear on that. That's I want to know how this if this have any impact on the storm. So when they start talking storm drain, I said, okay, if you this project was started, 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't know. I'm not so sure. So I don't want to
I got you.
speculate this one. Yeah.
$53,000 from that grant to offset that. So we'll be back up this year. It was a timing thing. We can't accrue things back after 60 days or,
Okay,
so it was just a timing thing that happened this year.
all right, thank you.
And I think part of what she's talking about, part of that is that
Chairman, yeah, I just-
some grants some grants, you know, you have to front the money up front and then you get reimbursed once it's completed. And what she's saying is that
The-
probably
the-
happened yet,
the-
but not be accurately reflected in this year's audit.
Got you.
Yeah.
Mr. Thompson, I'd just like to commend you on putting this together and making something that's very complicated, very easy to understand. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir, you're certainly welcome.
Okay, yes, thank you all. Thank you for
Thank you.
presenting the report to council.
So yeah, that's council meeting for tonight. Man, that was kind of crazy listening to them. Yeah, it did look like Lily Jean's bedtime was fast approaching last night. I mean tonight. But yeah. Georgetown County Council, the way local politics actually works.
Well, and I guess put a bow around this discussion on the sales tax and how they move forward again Thursday. They'll hold their meeting here. I do not believe that this, you know, because of where it's being sold to the public, like, you know, you all come but it's not designed to have an interaction with the community. So they have a tough task to sit down and lay out the criteria, you know, the format, how they're going to evaluate these things and how, you know, and so that's the admin work that they have to do. So I'm not so sure having, you know, a room full of people there who don't fully understand and probably have a lot of questions, having them there to be for what? Because they're not, what you're going there, you're not going to hear that, okay, all of a sudden Andrews have representation. That ain't happened. That's a done deal.
And so that's I'm trying to just understand the purpose of having it in Andrews. Like,
I think they thought that would give you a perception of some fairness.
That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's a smoke screen. And I don't think they thought about that when they were discussing it. But what we need, regardless of where they are, they can do it from the moon. This as long as everybody in, you know, every entity is properly represented, fairly represented. So the location doesn't matter. I mean, if you just want to see the process, but it's like, you know, making sausage or whatever it is, it's just yeah. And so there's no way you can influence. You hear it, but it won't make sense to you unless you understand the entire process. But so what we need is that what we need to be listening closely to is how these criteria for evaluating these projects are done. And then that when at the end of the day, when this referendum is written, that there's a guarantee for all entities submitting their project for it to be fully funded. And that it will now, because they also have to keep in mind this commission's job is to collect all this stuff, put some kind of evaluation criteria to it, and then present this to the council. So if you go back to that last meeting when they were debating about representation and Chairman Morant said, well, when we get the recommendation, we can still decide
not to go forward with it.
Listen at that. Now they can, and so they've done this before, even with the planning commission. When the commission came back, did a lot of work, technical review, you know, of that particular subject, and the council voted it down or didn't accept their recommendation. They have that same, it's their prerogative for the same thing here. They can say, okay, thanks for your hard work, give me that list, and then we'll prioritize based on the limited information we know. Because the commission is actually going to do the work or should do the work. Now, the problem with the challenge is that the timeline is short. So they'll do this work tomorrow or Thursday. And then as it was discussed, and I'm not sure whether it's going to change the timeline, by the end of this month, they will give whomever is going to be able to apply for or submit an application for a project. They're going to do that at the end of this month. And then whomever that entity is going to have to turn this project around, do all this level of work and assessment, and come back with engineering, engineer opinions and all stuff on their particular project.
Paid for by
Whoever can afford it.
Hmm.
But you may not be able to get to that level. So they're going to have to look real close at how they set these criteria, because they're not giving the people who are submitting these things time to do that level. That you're talking probably about a 4 or 5 month process that has to happen now in 31 working days. So if you get it at the end of this month, let's say you get it the 1st of February, that has to be back into the council based on the last discussion. And you'll see those in the minutes, that back to this commission by March 15th. You do the simple math, that's about 31 working days. Now that requires you to have a full staff that has this expertise on hand, so you won't have to go out and commit monies to this thing when you're not guaranteed that your project is going to be accepted. So there could just be lost revenue that you're not budgeted for.
So what you're saying is you can go and just theoretically, the town of Andrews could say, all right, look, we're going to put together, we got this money that we're gonna use to hire some engineers to come in and this and that, or whatever. You spend that money and still not get the project.
Yeah, and engineer fees is not cheap. You think a lawyer's expensive. Engineers are, they do great work, but they get paid for that. And so you can spend easily, like this, you can spend easily $25,000 just getting this, the work done for one project.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 to $100 million, and they have, let's say, 5 entities, however that is divvied out, then now you're talking about potentially 2 to 3 projects maybe. And so you're going to have to do that for every project that you submit in order for it to get approved by this commission to be submitted to the council for their decision. And then you got to, so now, and if you read that article that was published a couple of months ago, $30 million of this projected money is already committed to some project that nobody know about that was submitted, that the county has on deck.
Yep.
So you do the math. If they already got 30 million of this, whatever it's going to collect it, that money can't be spent because, again, their hands are tied because they didn't put all their money into the detention center. So as this money is collected over, it's going to probably be 3.5 years before anybody else project will even begin to be, move forward. So 3 years into this 8-year process, or this 8-year referendum that they're shooting for. And so now it's a matter of who has priority next. And what is that priority based on? Who's setting the priority, and it's based on the needs of, who knows? And again, we will be at risk again because we don't have representation. Second, the 2 that represents the town of Andrews don't even know what the priorities are. So we are light years behind because of poor representation. So all that historical stuff talking about the war was fought for having representation, we haven't had any for the last 8 years.
Absolutely. And that's what I found funny, is the ones who is him, you know what I mean? Given him coming coming in to replace Austin Beard and that whole situation, that was the definition of well, not taxation, that was just no representation.
That was illegal because he wasn't living here. So he was living here, and that's why he got, he was going to be forced to remove, but he did it to save face. And then this guy comes on and just does 0.
Carries on his work.
And then he goes out and to find someone to run against the mayor.
Yeah, let's not forget about them guys.
Yeah. So this whole thing was a part of this strategic plan they had. Probably more than 20 years. But this was a plan they have, and that's what makes me sick on my stomach for you not to be concerned about these critical needs of the town, but you're more into playing politics just so you wouldn't be held accountable. And that's Raymond Newton.
Yep.
Everett's just all over the map. He don't know who he wants to represent. So, But this guy just clear out, the 17% that he lives in, he don't, it's not important. And and I will not bite my tongue on these things today because it has to be called out and that until they do better. And when they're ready to represent the town like they should, then we can all sit down. I'm ready to sit down at the table now, but they won't because they know what they have tried, this, and I'll call it a, strong term, a coup.
That's exactly what it. I mean,
You
and
know, legal
that's what they
coup.
tried with with the 20 band man, the preacher, who again they had all these ideas and they were going to do this, and you don't see them now. You don't see them again, like you said, dealing with issues that did they give you a timetable yet on the because I know there was some movement on the 4-way stop, but have they reached back out to you on that yet?
No, but there's work. I see some work going on right now because so again, what we're talking about is that we got approval the state approved to put a beacon light elevated at Ebenezer and the intersection of Ebenezer and Seaboard Road, where we're having these kinds of incidents repeatedly and too often. And so no timeline has been established, but again, the work has begun. Some of that, the local SC DOT folks here will do some of the road work, and I think they'll bring in engineers and others who do. And that's going to be I think a huge improvement where people will see from a distance that you're approaching a stop sign, and it's going to be an elevated, again, beacon light 4-way. There are going to be other improvements, elevating the signs that are there to a height where truckers can see those things. They're going to create other visible markings that's going to that's going to help improve the safety at that place. And so again, we're finally there. And so the timeline will come, I guess, with all the rest of it, but excited about that. A lot of hard work from the people on the ground, those who signed petitions back in the day, those are kind of stuck with us on this to make this known to all that it's that is a safety risk, health risk to our people. No, not just our people, all people coming through there.
No doubt. And I know during the Martin Luther King event, we had a gentleman who got sick and the ambulance ended up coming there, and Gab News put on this whole charade that he was just so upset about the whole situation. And he the article that he wrote was it's just I encourage you guys to find more sources. Use as many sources as you can to get your news. Don't depend on that, guys. He's and I'm not gonna beat up on him a whole lot, but he hasn't done any serious reporting, any good faith, honest reporting when it comes to the situation with the EMS. And he's at a place where he can't give his honest opinion. You know what I mean? He got to hide behind, oh, well, I got this from somebody, and you didn't get that from nobody. And but I'm gonna go through that whole thing here in another broadcast. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'll withhold any comments on that, but I thought, I know we had a program ongoing and there was a gentleman obviously in need of some medical attention. And luckily we had two nurses there, one active and one just simply retired. Recently retired, but was there to help give him the first aid or whatever the case may be. But I think he's doing well, doing better. Interesting.
Yeah, and because it was an issue about the timing, and once I recognized the gentleman there, mentally I was kind of tracking, and it didn't take extra. It would have been quicker if the ambulance was in town and came from right there at the old Andrews High, as opposed to coming from across the river. And one of the issues was is the signage on the ambulance said Midway, and the explanation for that is that the normal EMS that is in that area is was in the shop, so they were borrowing, you know, things. But here's something else, and then you know, I'm gonna get off here. Tonight, also at the council meeting, I seen they were recognizing the volunteers. Are the volunteers that work for Andrews Fire Department, are they considered part of Georgetown County, or is that Andrews' own entity?
No, it's our own, all volunteer. We have,
Okay.
I think, two of the slots, or one of the slots is part-time. But the point is that we should have had some of our firemen there if that's what they were recognizing, because our firemen cover a 6 mile
part of-
radius of the county.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So they
That's
should
what I
have been
thought.
committed. I mean, you know, considered. I don't know what the criteria is, but it just seemed like, you know, our guys were left out again.
But we need to put together something and recognize our guys.
And the thing is, you know, again, they won't give, you know, for all of that work that our fire department is doing in support of the county, they have not in 30 plus years increased that very minimum stipend that they give for us covering down. They give nothing that goes to maintenance of these trucks. All of that comes out of the town's tax dollars.
Wow.
And if you see in that budget revision that they just did, I mentioned earlier,
Yeah, Midway got a
there
chunk
was
of
about
money.
$7,000 that went to at least two fire departments and nothing here. And I spoke to one of our firefighters, and they're pretty much upset with me. And he brought that to the attention of these two reps, but nothing's changed. So again, to get up there and get all passionate about one incident that you already staged in the first place is this nonsense.
Yeah.
There is no representation. He's absolutely right. The history speaks for itself, and it's continued to repeat itself through these two gentlemen. And if anybody believe them, be careful of buying a bridge, getting sold a bridge in the desert.
Absolutely.
Okay? Keep your hands on your wallet.
Yep. Yes, sir. So listen, sir, we have easily reached the 2 hour mark, which is
well, it's a
good
lot to
stuff.
be said. It's a lot to be said. You know, you can, you know, I don't hide the fact that Andrews not being represented is, you know, bothers me. This is the third term in here. Nothing has changed with respect, you know, to outside, not necessarily support, just doing your job. And so I'm at this point, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm calling these guys out because the people need to know. And this is the platform I will use in addition to going around and talking to people. So it's not to bash these guys, it's that just do your part. Do your part.
That's that.
And
I
that's
mean,
it. Nobody's asking for any handout. This is not affirmative action. This is do your job action.
and I find it just crazy, like petty, really, really petty, when they sit and gloat about how much money they're sitting in the fund balance. They got too much money in the fund balance, and you know, we're all supposed to be a part of the same county, but it's just like we don't get treated like that at all.
Nope, they wanted to go away, but it's not going to. The people are not going to let this happen, and I'm definitely not going to allow it to happen. If you get something by me, then you know you did, but I'm going to be watching all of their moves. And so, and I'll say this to close out. Again, I believe in the 1 cent sales tax tool to take care of things that, you know, that the county can handle. You know, we can handle the county municipalities, but it's going to have to be fair. And we'll see how this process unfolds. I'll work as close with this commission as they will allow, but I'm going to be brutally honest about what's going on and what I see, and I'm not going to accept anything else that's not in writing in terms of what Andrews is going to receive through these dollars. And you know, we forget about this loss tax. We don't talk about that much, but again, there's a potential for $200 million in my estimate between these two sales tax that could be collected that we should be beneficiaries of. So I'm pay close attention to it.
No doubt. And the people of Georgetown County, you should be paying close attention to. Again, we'll stay in the fight. Keep it rolling, man. I appreciate you. That great conversation. Look forward to doing this again next week, and hopefully, I don't know, we'll see where Butch is. See if I can get him back on, and to talk more about. Well, hopefully, I'm able to get in on that meeting this weekend and bring it in, and that's going to be he's supposed to be meeting with the pastors this weekend, right?
Yeah, I think some of our community
over at Mr. Commander's spot.
That's changed. So we're working on a location right now. I'll get that to you. Sure.
Okay.
All
right.
We'll do that.
Yep. And before I get out here, I want to shout out, put this up again and get people involved here. Also, early voting is taking place right now in the Democratic primary. So, do what you need to do to get yourself, get your vote in. All right. The Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated present Social Action Luncheon. This is a free event. However, you need to register, and you need to register by February 19th. And the event is going to take place on February 24th, 2024 from 11 to 1 p.m. at the Glisson Center. And this is Bethel AME Church, 417 Broad Street in Georgetown. Meet your local, county, and state officials. So make sure if you are available, go out there and do your part to get involved and see what's going on in your community. So with that, sir, we're going to sign off of here. Any last words, anything that you might want to put out there to the people that's coming up?
I think and you may have mentioned it already. This rally tomorrow on the state grounds regarding the
no, I didn't. I did not.
Hate crime. If you look in your inbox, that's people need to be aware of that. I think it's a hate crime bill that for some reason South Carolina doesn't. Some, not all, but some members of our state elected officials don't think that's necessary.
All right, meeting date correction. Capital project sales tax. I just got this in from Ms. Veronica. Capital project sales tax will meet Thursday, January 25th, 5:30 p.m. Andrews, South Carolina. Andrews Library, 105 North Morgan Avenue. Come out and listen to their presentation. This is the same person that This is a text that's coming, man. Hold on.
What happened?
Oh, I gotta put this on the screen. Hold on a second. This goes to our point, and this whole thing, and this thing being that whole episode at that January 11th meeting being a game, and this right here is going to illustrate that point to the T. All right, and let's see. South Carolina and Wyoming are the only two states in the nation without a hate crime law.
Who is it? Who's the other?
South Carolina and Wyoming. A fun fact provided by Miss Moretta Wilson.
No. Yeah, so I don't understand that. I've heard at least one of the elected officials express his concern about about establishing a law like this, that that it would be unfair to the accuser, and getting a fair trial. Dude, if you put it's like any other, if you have the elements of this crime is met, then it should be prosecuted for hate crime. It's like anything else.
So they're saying it's going to be basically, and I mean, this is my interpretation, it's going to be unfair to white people.
Well, let's be honest. There's hate across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can get any Muslims or because everybody has their
group, the protected groups.
yeah. So the law applies to all. If there's an African American that commits a crime that is now meets the elements that says this was done because of hate, then it should be prosecuted as such.
All right, so here is this is from Everett Carolina guys who made this big thing saying that we could not so tyranny. He said, "I'll meet you there. I will meet you there." Meeting. Capital Project Sales Tax Committee will meet Thursday, 25th, Andrews, 105 North Morgan. Come out and listen to their presentation. Purpose of the tax proposal for the referendum and proposed projects. So they have projects already? This is misleading.
Well, listen, you heard Raymond tonight. They at some meeting they were deciding who was going to get representation, and so I'm not surprised if there's already discussion going on. But well, it has. I mentioned earlier, there's $30 million already committed to a project that's not named.
All right. So, and another question I would have for he's watching The Wire. Everett Carolina Senior watching The Wire, because I'm trying to figure out why does he have Baltimore pictured in this where he's talking about the sales tax? He must be drinking. Taxation without representation is tyranny. I'll meet you there.
That's a bunch of soft talk.
And he got Baltimore up there. Like, why do you have the streets of Baltimore up there? Why don't you put up? He should have took a picture of the town hall and put it up there.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask the question. I'm asking for a friend. Call him Booty Boy Bandits. Okay, Thomas, you tripping. Who's that picture? Who was that picture? Who was that? Hey, that's a picture of Baltimore. It's campaigning in effect. Of course it is.
Yeah, that's what this is. And that's fine, but let's be honest with the people. Put in, again, establish a criteria that makes it fair for everybody across the board to be fairly represented. And that's all we ask. And then that they're not going to,
do what they did the last time. That's all they got to do. Do what they did the last time. See, when we got represented, we had representation and still got jerked.
Yeah,
still got jerked.
So that stuff's gonna have to be spelled out.
Changing state laws. Has he? I wonder, has he petitioned Representative Carl Anderson or Senator Ronnie Sabb to propose this change in this law, in the Capital Project Sales Tax law?
No, it's about like the fund balance policy. It's forthcoming. But they're gonna have. I'm sure they'll do that because that can really get you in some trouble. But in terms of calling, the Attorney General, that's what he said to me tonight. I'm like, guy, that's please.
Oh my goodness.
That is not. You show me the action you're taking to get this law changed, and then we'll have a conversation about what we can trust your word. Right now, put it in writing.
Why? I'm trying to I'm taking offense to this Baltimore thing right here.
That's where Thomas lives, Mr. Thomas Briggs. That looks familiar down in your neighborhood or next door. I don't know what that is supposed to represent.
I just don't.
Maybe that's what's happening in Baltimore. I know he spent some time up there. Maybe that's something he's familiar with, but I don't know.
He watching The Wire.
Yeah.
Ah, man, that picture is North Avenue and Greenmount Street. It looked like they look like they had their better days back in the day or sometime, because I don't know. But anyway, sir, I appreciate you. We about to get out of here. Remember, guys, while y'all in here, hit the share button, share this out, and we're gonna keep it moving. And I did read that last thing there. Okay, yeah. So we out of here. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.